Hi, Jack.
Hello, everyone.
Russ, we can't hear you.
Erica or Jack, can you hear?
Not very well.
Jack,
Jack, can you hear us now?
A little bit more.
We can hear you at least.
Oh, I can hear you now. I can hear you loud and clear, Pamela.
Is the volume on? I think you just said loud and clear.
To you, maybe not to Russ.
Oh,
everybody
hear
else
you
gave
guys
us
thumbs
thumbs
up.
Yep, you're all back.
very good.
We
Okay.
never left, Jack. We've been sitting here the whole time.
Okay, so I'd like to call the April meeting of SALS to order. Are there any announcements? Okay, seeing none. Is there any public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll move along. First item on the agenda is the approval of the board meeting minutes from March 19th. I was absent for that one. Janet, did you notice any need for any changes or anything like that?
Did not.
Okay, anybody else? Any corrections, any additions? All right, could I have a motion to accept the minutes? Jordan? Margaret is seconding. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And one abstention. I was not present. Okay. The minutes are approved. Let's move on. Bob, the treasurer's report and warrants.
Well, the month of March was a very slim month for receipts. We started off the month with almost $2 million, $1,994,000. We received 50,721, which of that, interest was 6,260 and automation fees were 44,000 and the rest was just little stuff. And we spent 146,522, ending the month with 1,898,000. And during the month of March, we rolled over the CD that matured on 3/18, and that's going to mature on 6/17, and we got 4.75. And we've got a CD maturing next week And that one's another 500,000. And I probably will be rolling that over with a maturity of 8/24, and I don't know what the rate will be, but it'll probably be just under 5%. So we're still doing good on our interest for the year. And the warrants were in your folder, or if you downloaded them or looked at them online, if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer.
Okay, and those are for filing?
You're ready for filing, yeah?
Okay. Warrants,
Yeah, it's,
they're circulating, okay. Thank you, Bob. Nothing unusual to report? Okay, very good.
no,
All right, Sarah, the director's report.
The April meeting is kind of sad because this is the last time we're gonna be sitting around the table and we're gonna be not losing, but people are cycling off the board who've been here a very, very long time, Russ and Jordan. And it's gonna be different not having you around the table. And I just want to thank you all for all of your years of service. And bringing Sal to where it is right now, which is in a comfortable place. And Bob could tell you when I started 20 years ago, we were not in a comfortable place.
that's for
So,
sure.
you're being good stewards and being good trustees and asking the hard questions and making the hard decisions. Greatly, greatly appreciated. And there really isn't time to say this at the annual meeting, so I just wanted to thank you. I think
Well,
it's,
can I just say one thing? Some of you were here, but all of you weren't, and Jordan can speak for himself, but for my part, this is a wonderful board, intelligent, caring people who obviously are committed to libraries, and it's been a real pleasure to work with you all.
Thank you.
Well, same for me, and, you know, I started 13 years ago when I was only 25. No, I always feel good about being on this board and being an important thing to be doing. And it's always been wonderful people as part of it, so it's been a pleasure, thank you.
And just one addition, which is rather obvious, but all the, including you that are up here on the board, all of the members of the staff are very professional, very helpful, and a pleasure to work with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it's an understatement by saying it's been quite a year. I remember where we were a year ago. We won't go into details, and it continues to be an interesting thing. Our libraries are making the news locally, statewide, nationally, and internationally. Lots of going on in libraries across the country. I want to express my deep gratitude to all of you for your unwavering support and encouragement, which has been instrumental in our successes and resiliency during our challenges. And without any doubt, my biggest thanks and admiration goes to the amazing SALS and JA staff members. Every colleague has given 1,000%, and it really takes a library village to conduct business nowadays. And just a little aside, the JA staff are considered SALS staff because of the administration of it, but the JA staff works with libraries in 8 counties plus 2 systems, so you got a lot of bosses there, and all the time, they have gotten stellar reviews and raves on all of our satisfaction, use, and value statements. Colleen contacted NICON, New York Council of Nonprofits, regarding the employee handbook. Our handbook hasn't been reviewed since 2018. And there have been some changes, just how everybody does business after a pandemic. So I would like to sign a contract with Nikon to start the process of the review. We're gonna work with a consultant in Nikon. And I have the contract on my desk and I'm gonna go ahead and sign it. I don't think we need board approval to do that because that's business as usual. But I wanna let you know that we're doing it and there's money in the budget to pay for it. So in a few months, we'll have a revised employee handbook that we'll share with the board for their approval. Much of my time recently has been spent ensuring a smooth transition for the Schenectady County Public Library's decision to leave the joint automation project. Just to let you know that MBLS has 4 counties worth of libraries and we have 4 counties of libraries. And since 1983, 1986, we've had a very, very cooperative agreement among all of the libraries and sharing resources and we have a pretty robust delivery system, moving the materials around from library to library, from system to system. There is a transition team working with Schenectady County staff, Schenectady County Public Library staff, to make sure it's a smooth transition. And they had sent us a letter, and I believe the separation date will be at the middle to end of August of this year. We're gearing up for the SALS annual meeting next month. We have wonderful giveaways and we have a wonderful, wonderful speakers, and it's going to be a wonderful celebration of libraries and the wonderful work libraries are doing for the residents who live, visit, and work in our service area. And we're still seeking a Hamilton County trustee. We're not giving up. We could accept nominations from the floor, and then there's always an appointment process after. It's not gonna affect our quorum so much, but we're still actively looking. According to the Times Union, the governor announced the framework of the budget deal. And some lawmakers say the negotiations are ongoing. So hopefully by this time next year, by this time next month, we'll have a budget and we'll have an understanding of how much money the libraries will be getting and SALS as well. We still haven't received official notice that the SALS annual report has been approved, but when Pamela checked just earlier, they said we're in the queue. And if they have any questions, they'll let us know. So if you read the SALS bylaws, and there's a little statement in it that says, in even numbered years, the president shall appoint an officer nominating committee immediately following the annual meeting. This committee will establish a slate of officers for election by the board at the first regularly scheduled meeting following the annual meeting, translated June. Additional nominations from the floor will be accepted. And if there's more than one candidate per office, voting shall be done by written ballot. And membership on this committee shall not prohibit nomination for office. And we're in an interesting situation. It's an even year, but Russ will be leaving after the May meeting. So I don't know if volunteers want to give Russ some names so that we can do it kind of in the way, and this is names not necessarily to run for office, but to be on the nominating committee to encourage people to step up for the office. Does that make sense? Okay. And I'm really, really happy to share this, that everyone everyone is invited to the Rockwell Falls Public Library's reopening celebration on April 20th from 12 to 2. And there's gonna be a magic show at 1 p.m.
Imagine.
So, I just got really giddy when I read this and said, what a difference a year could make. And I congratulate everyone involved for getting us to that point. Yay. I can't be there. I'm gonna be in Chicago, and that's gonna be a heck of a commute. But I hope people from the board can be there, maybe some staff be there to just celebrate with.
What time did you say, from 1 to
It
1?
starts at 12 to 2, and the magic show is at 1 p.m. Story hour. There might be. There might be. One other thing that we've done, there's something called, and thank you, Christine, because you brought it to our attention, the Community Anchor Institutions List. I believe in order to be getting some broadband money, all of our libraries, or libraries to be considered, need to be on that list. Pamela and I double checked to make sure all SALS libraries are included, and the few that weren't, Pamela sent emails to remind them we kind of register them, but they have to do the follow-up, but they know that they have to do the follow-up. The follow-up is simple as showing that they're a not-for-profit library. And that is the end of my oral report, and I will, any questions?
Do you have any updates about, Schenectady and Upper Hudson?
I went to the Upper Hudson board meeting last week, was it? And, at this time, Schenectady has asked to join the Upper Hudson Library System only for the integrated library. Not leave MDLS, but to join the ILS of the Upper Hudson. That's called UHLAN, UHLAN. At the meeting, the board president gave a very thoughtful introduction about what's going on and the gravity of the whole situation. And the purpose right now, after that meeting or during that meeting, was to collect questions the board may have regarding this whole situation. And the trustees, the Upper Hudson Library Systems trustees, asked very, very good questions to be answered before they make a decision. So that's where that is right now. And they were very gracious and allowed me to speak for up to 5 minutes. But then Eric and I sat there, and Eric Trahan is the director of Mohawk Valley. And we sat there and listened to the proceedings. So it's a work in progress.
I'm just sort of curious as to whether or not Schenectady ever understood the complexity of needing their own catalog, their own ILS.
I'm taking that as a rhetorical question, and I'm not gonna answer it because I don't know the answer. Seriously, I don't know the answer to that.
Any other questions for Sarah? Okay, thank you, Sarah. Let's move on to committee reports. Janet, anything from audit and finance?
No.
Okay. Chris, building
Yes,
committee.
so the building committee, we met this morning. We had two different things. The SALS Construction Challenge grants. And I guess I'm talking about them down in new business, but
Correct.
we came to a resolution about how to divvy up the $50,000 that we had to spend. The other item that the committee met on is in our unfinished business, which is the parking lot, and I'll talk about that later.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Chris. Any questions for Chris at this point? Both of those will come up later in the meeting. Bylaws committee,
Not this time.
nothing. Okay. Central Library Aid and Services, Margaret?
No report.
Okay. County aid coordinators.
Nope.
Okay, we still have a vacancy for Hamilton County, okay. Library Services, Carol.
I'm happy to say I do have a report. We met this morning at 11:30 to discuss awarding 2 library program awards at the annual meeting next month. So there were 3 entries. One from Boston Spa was a teen book boxes program. They developed themed book boxes that contained a book and then items for the teenagers to keep after reading the book. They've had very good response. They've developed over 60 boxes, and the purpose is to encourage reading and literacy among teens, which is a very difficult demographic to reach. The second one was Saratoga Library, which has a neurodiversity club. They have a partnership with the SUNY Empire State University Center for Autism Advocacy. They were targeting autistic children K to 12 and their friends and family. And they provided activities, including crafts, games, Legos, dancing, music, etc. And they've had more than 70 people attending since September of 2023. And the last one was a joint venture between Clifton Park Half Moon, Mechanicville, Round Lake Malta, Stillwater, and Waterford, which was they called it the Magnificent Six Challenge, challenging patrons to stop at all 6 libraries during the summer. They would get their little passes stamped, and anyone who hit all 6 libraries were entered in a drawing for 5 $50 gift certificates. 62 people completed the challenge, and 1 person won all 5 gift certificates for $250 worth of gifts. We had quite a discussion. We liked the fact that Boston Spa was hitting a unserviced community. We loved the fact that Saratoga had a community partners and was also hitting a very underserviced community. And we like that the Magnificent Six Challenge was a working partnership between the 6 libraries in the Saratoga County area. We decided to award, or we are recommending awarding to the Boston Spa and Saratoga because they hit demographics that need to be serviced in our libraries. They both promote, the Boston Spa definitely promotes literacy. And then we decided that we would give an honorable mention to the Clifton Park Mechanicville, the group one, for a collaborative effort in providing services to their community, but we didn't feel that it was actually promoting library services. It was, shallower or not quite such an in-depth program. So we will be recommending that we award prizes to or Boston Spa and Saratoga and give honorable mention to the other.
Okay, and we'll get to the vote to that under new business when we reach that. Any questions for Carol? Okay, thank you, Carol. Personnel, Janet.
So we met today too, and we had a nomination from the Boston Community Public Library for Julia Stone for the Trustee of the Year. And she was instrumental in their charter update process. And we all agreed that she certainly deserved a Trustee of the Year recommendation. So we'll be voting on that later.
Right. Any questions for Janet? Okay, thank you, Janet. And trustee nominating, Jordan.
Yeah, well, we do have trustees for Saratoga County. Tom Shadano, who some of you met last time, sitting back here, and Elaine Cowan for Warren County. And then we're having still trouble finding. I actually spoke to 2 people who were interested. Each of them looked into it very seriously, and but in the end felt it it was too much for them to handle at this time, and so we're still looking.
Okay, and we will get to that under new business as well. Thank you, Jordan. All right, unfinished business. Want to
Yeah.
talk about the parking lot?
Sure.
Chris?
So, you've all seen what the condition is of our parking lot. The building committee met last fall and we kicked it down the road till today. We got, estimates from 5 different, paving contractors, and they were all over the place. So we got kind of crazy because they went from you only need to patch for $4,600 up to a rip it out and replace it for $54,750. So we were, what came up today or yesterday was the idea that, yeah, I'd been leaning towards the middle ground, the resurfacing thing, where it would get patched and more asphalt, not just a patch and coat. But then the rip out and replace became a more attractive, option because of the availability of going for state money to do this. That would be a 50% matching grant, thereby making a whole new parking lot cheaper than the resurfacing option in every case. So, however, we still have a range of estimates from 13,900 up to 27,000, so almost double, even after the grant money. So we have some questions to ask. I'm gonna contact Paul Mays, and we also need to get moving on when the grant stuff opens up, to apply for the grant. We still should be able to do the parking lot this year. Because that was one of the original concerns, was how far out that meant we needed to go into 2025 for the paving. So that's the status of that.
And now that we know what we want to do, we can do a request for a quote so that people are sharing same questions, the same answers,
Right.
rather than
Yeah,
a smorgasbord.
Right, same alternative, same project, exactly.
yeah.
All right,
Because
so,
one of the quotes actually, one of the original quotes from, BDB, they left out a portion that then their quote went from, 40,000 to 50,000 because, that's a little extra thing we forgot to add. So, it will be good to have the same specifications for every contractor. So that's where we are.
so
with
basically
parking
on
lot.
this question, we're on hold as we investigate more options. And we also, will be developing the grant proposal. And, I think we ought to mention, which we mentioned in committee, that, whether or not we get the grant, Bob and I have talked about this, whether or not we get the grant, we have the resources available. It's a job that needs to be done. But if we get the grant, of course, that's 50%, so it'll be half of what the job is going to cost. So, we're basically thinking of moving ahead, but, going out for a new round of bids and see where we are at that point. Any questions for Chris? Okay, thank you, Chris. All right. All right, Sarah, could you explain the management representation letter, please?
Yeah,
Or
actually,
go ahead.
I'm gonna let Bob, just making sure there's a copy. I'm gonna let Bob.
All right, Bob, you go ahead.
I believe it was a link that you can
Yes.
take a look at. It's the usual management letter that Russ and Sarah and myself need to sign, which basically says that we gave them all the information and they gave it back to us. And they will be here, yeah, they'll be here in June to actually present it to the board, the financial statements. So what the board needs to do is to either vote allowing us to sign the management letter or tell us that we can't. I don't know what happens if you tell us. We can't. So we need a vote on that.
Oh, yeah, Could I get a motion, Elaine and seconded by Sue, to approve the signing of the management representation letter? Any questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. All right, the annual meeting. I think that speaks for itself. We want to encourage trustees to go. Obviously, I'll want you to go back and encourage your local trustees and library staff to attend as well. And this would authorize one trustee at $30 each. If you bring a significant other, or if your library is a plan for library staff that's over and above that, but this would authorize Sarah to approve basically our attendance at the board.
What?
At the dinner.
I'm not sure about that.
I don't remember, it was confusing and there were two different ideas.
Okay,
I know each library can send one for free on the registration, that's true.
Yes, so it's $30 per dinner ticket for trustees, and each board has one complimentary ticket
Oh, okay.
from the member library. So my
Yeah.
apologies that the description in new business isn't complete.
so it's to encourage our member libraries to send at least one trustee, because it's our annual meeting for them.
Right.
But it gets a little dicey because you are trustees to use public funds to pay your dinners.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Is there a motion to approve? Jordan, is there a second? Linda? Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Sarah, you want to speak to the next resolution?
We don't listen. Both of you, plug your ears. So as I said, and I began my oral report, that these two gentlemen have put in so much time. And what we'd like you as a board to do is approve resolutions recognizing all the time and work and dedication of these two people. So please approve it, but don't listen. But I guess you could vote.
I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution.
So Carol is making and Linda is seconding.
Carol and Linda, okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carried. All right, Chris, will you lead us into the construction grant awards and explain the process?
Yeah, so, we had 12 applications, for the Construction Challenge Grant, which is SALS money that we give up to $5,000 for some construction project. And, we had 12 libraries reply or apply, which brought up the total to $57,090. So, we did some number juggling. And we actually, one of the libraries, Cambridge, was requesting a copy fax machine. And we came to the determination that that really did not fit into the construction guidelines. So we are not granting Cambridge anything. Even with that said, we still needed to do some number juggling, wanting to give the full amount requested to some more financially struggling libraries in the Adirondacks. So the We came to a final recommendation using all $50,000 we had to give. Bolton, we're granting 5,000. Clifton Park Half Moon.
Do you want to
5
say what the?
Oh,
projects are?
okay, sure, Bolton, they need a structure to protect their generator. And the request was 5,000 and we're granting 5,000. Clifton Park, needed some additional, ADA handicap door openers. Their request was 5,000, we're giving them 5,000. Fort Edward, is wanting to do seal coating of their parking lot at a cost of $2,490. We are granting them the full $2,490. Greenwich, was requesting $5,000 for, an architectural review to audit their space to perhaps, make it more patron friendly. That was a $5,000 request. We're granting 5,000. Indian Lake, is looking for $5,000. They want to condense their kitchenette area, getting rid of some equipment and consolidating it in a way that provides a bit more space for, patron programs. Again, 5,000, we're granting them 5,000. Lake George, is looking for an architectural plan to update their circulation desk area. Request 5,000, we're granting 5,000. Long Lake, needs a sump pump. And, the request was 5,000, we're granting 5,000. Mechanicville, they're looking for architectural assisted design to change their layout in a way to, again, make it more program patron friendly. Requesting 4,600 and we're granting them 4,600. Round Lake requested 5,000 to upgrade their fire and smoke detectors and make them, it was like wiring it into the local firehouse or something, right? Fire alarm.
Right.
And 5,000, we're granting 5,000. Salem requested 5,000. Another architectural plan for improving space utilization. They requested 5,000, we're giving them 5,000. Schuylerville requested 5,000 for an electric vehicle charging station. They are actually getting quite a bit of a grant back from the utility company. And so we cut in order to make our $50,000 total. It wasn't only coincidental that they were at the bottom of the list. We're granting them $2,910. So the final recommendation totals the $50,000 that SALS has to give.
Okay, any questions for Chris? Thank you for, it's always one of the more difficult jobs to do each year is to weigh these projects and to keep it within the budget. And this is a committee recommendation. It does not require a second. So all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries, and thank you, Chris. All righty, let's see. Program of the Year Awards from the Library Services Committee. And that would be Carol.
Right.
Hey, Russ, can I just jump in 1 second?
You
Jen-
may, Jack. Go
Jen
ahead.
Richards mentioned that, just to clarify, that it's not the Ballston Spa Public Library, but it's the Ballston Community Public Library from Burnt Hills.
Right.
Okay. For me or for the other?
For us.
Okay, all right. So we are giving, I'll just say Boston, does that solve the problem? An award for their teenage book box program. We're recommending giving an award to Saratoga for their autism. I lost my list, what's it called? Their neurodiversity club. And we are making a motion that we recognize I'm not going through all those libraries, the Magnificent Six get an honorable mention for their library challenge.
Okay, any questions for Carol?
I guess I was just curious to know, did the Magnificent Six require anything more than just getting a stamp? I didn't see that as.
That's why they're honorable mention.
That's why they're.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the idea was that to offer some recognition, but that the other two were more population and programmatically inclined.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, we do want to encourage, just as a SALS board, cooperation between libraries, so. Okay, so again, this is coming from committee. A second is not required. No further discussion. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Okay, trustee of year of the awards from personnel, Janet.
So this again is Julia Stone for trustee of the year from the Boston Community Public Library. Who did a great deal of work on their charter update process. We recommend that she be trustee of the year.
Okay. Any questions for Janet? Okay, another committee recommendation, no second is required. All those in favor? Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, Janet. All right, nominations, Jordan.
Well, again, we have a nomination for Warren and Saratoga County, and any luck, maybe we'll have one for Hamilton County by May 20th.
Okay,
But this isn't a committee decision.
well, and don't forget Elaine
Oh,
for another term for Elaine
yeah, well,
County.
no, I said for Warren and Saratoga.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But not yet for Hamilton.
But for those of you who forgot, this is,
Yes.
It's official.
all
Hard to
right,
forget.
and you've had a chance to meet Tom, and it's great to have him coming on board, and
Literally.
all right, again, a committee recommendation, no second. All those in favor? Any opposed? The motion
I'm
carries.
abstaining.
You're, okay, that's good. You can if you wish. You
Yeah,
can vote for yourself.
that's all right.
It's all right. I think even the president votes for it. And I would add, as far as Hamilton is concerned, either the committee, even if after Jordan and our terms are finished, if something comes up in Hamilton County, an appointment can be made, or the committee can recommend it to the board. So there's still a chance to fill it at a later date. It doesn't have to be right now.
Right.
Okay. All right, finally, we have a request from Sarah to approve Colleen to attend Camp Finance, October 9th and 10th. I think you did one of these before, didn't you? It was very valuable for you.
Don't be jealous.
Yeah,
If you wanna go to Camp Fire.
yeah,
Oh, tell them where it is.
yeah, I was gonna say, where is it?
Well, it normally is at Mohawk. But
Terrible.
they're doing, renovations there, so last year and this year is at the Sagan Park, so. it's
Oh.
really-
Oh,
It's a bummer.
Oh.
Are you hosting us all for cocktails one night? All right, very good. Could I have a motion to approve that, please? Janet and Margaret for a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, enjoy. Motion carries.
More financial talk.
All right, is there a director's council report this time? None. Any announcements? Okay, none. All right, thank you all, and thank you to the committee people that came early today. It's been a long day for some of us, been here since the break of dawn, but always very good to get,
Slight exaggeration.
always good to get things done. And We'll see you in Lake George
Yes.
in just a few weeks.